Today we're going to make the Bookish Coasters embroidery project from Kimberbell. This kit comes with everything you need in the package. In the instructions, there's step-by-step full color photographs to walk you through the projects. There's two types of coasters in this project. There's the one with the flying geese and the one that looks a little bit like a crazy quilt. I'm going to walk you through this one here that looks more like a crazy quilt. One of the things I like to do before I start is to gather all of my materials. You can see I've cut my fabrics according to the directions. I've got everything labeled and I've selected my thread colors. Now I can take this over to my embroidery machine and get started. Before you sit down to embroider, we have to take our two back fabric pieces, fold them in half widthwise and press. This is your length, and this is your width. You want wrong sides together. You want to fold them this way and match up your edges and press. You want to do that for both of your pieces. Always check your hoop size. There's your thread colors. We pressed our fabrics. We need to hoop our stabilizer. The project has step-by-step instructions. As I move through the instructions, you'll see the steps come up on the screen. Already on my channel and linked below is the Bookish Petals and Prose book cover and the Blossoms and Bouquet bookmarks. These were all done step by step, walking through and showing the instructions. This is a smaller project. I'm going to move this video a little bit faster. All the steps will be on the screen. If I notice something or we need to discuss something, I'll go ahead and I'll stop and I'll talk about what's going on. You want to trim your project batting close to the stitch line. Duckbill scissors are great for this. Use the bill part to protect your stitches so you don't accidentally cut into your stitching. Let's go ahead and trim. If you feel like you didn't get close enough to the stitch line, you can grab some snips and get a little bit closer. take your piece 6 fabric, center it along the line. You want the fabric covering what you've already embroidered. I'm going to go ahead and tape mine down. Then we're going to stitch a seam to hold this down. Once you have that piece pressed, notice it says to finish, go to directions steps 87 to 100 on pages 9 to 11. So flip your instructions back and start on 87. After you stitch the piece 6 placement line, you stitch the background placement line. My camera didn't grab that. That's what I just did. Place your cork right side up, covering your placement line. The cork is a little wavy. I'm going to go ahead and use some tape. Step gives an option of covering your cork with the wash away topping before you stitch the sentiment, the words. I'm going to try it without and see how it comes out. Looks great. I didn't use the wash away topping. Now we need to get our 2 back pieces, and I am on step number 95 in the instructions. You're going to place your 2 prepared pieces on top of your project. The folds of the fabric are going to go towards the center. We're going to overlap them at about a 1/2 inch at the center, and then make sure we're extended a 1/4 inch beyond our seams for seam allowance. So don't put them right up against your seam like this. Make sure you're giving yourself that seam allowance. I'm going to go ahead and place these and tape them. You can actually use this line as a guide. I measured and I put my fabric down, so when you put your fabric down, you can use this edge and line it along that edge there. Make sure it's centered and you've got that 1/4 inch overhang on either side. And then if you line this bottom line here with this bottom edge of your fabric and place that there, you end up with your 1/2 inch overlap in the middle, and you can tape everything down. Tape off. I'm going to get a rotary cutter and a ruler. You want to trim this a 1/4 inch away from the final outline. So from that last stitch you just did, I've got a 1/4 inch line on here. I'm going to go ahead and line that up. It's going to be a little hard to see, honestly, in general, and even harder on camera because it's dark thread on dark fabric, and my ruler is clear with a dark marking for my 1/4 inch line. Let's go ahead and trim. That looks good. Your next step is clipping your corners to reduce the bulk, and then you'll turn your project right side out. After I trimmed my corners, I still have quite a bit of bulk, so I went back and trimmed these. I'm going to do the last one, and I'm just trimming just a little bit more off of each side. I'm being very careful not to hit my stitching. I'm just taking the littlest bit off of each side. That's what I trimmed off from the whole entire project. You're going to want to turn your project inside out. You might need a corner poking tool. I happen to have this one. This is by Clover. Some people like to use a chopstick, the end of a pencil, whatever. Just be careful not to poke through your corners. So flip it. You've got 2 sides to flip. Once your project is flipped right side out, you want to take it to the ironing board, but you're going to press it from the back. You want to press it from the back side, and it does say to use a pressing cloth. If you don't have a pressing cloth, cover it up with a piece of scrap fabric. I'm going to go ahead and press it and come back and show you what it looks like. We are all pressed. This is the Read More, Worry Less coaster. This is the front. Here's the back. There's that overlap of your fabric. I'm going to go ahead and make the other 3, and I'll show you all 4 when they're done. I have all 4 coasters done. Let's get a look at these. We have the Read More, Worry Less. Once Upon a Time. Bookish, Lover of Books. And Lost in a Book. The bonus design in this kit is the I'd Rather Be Reading applique. You've got a hoop size choice of 5x7 and 8x12, and they show this on a tote bag. I hope you've enjoyed making the Bookish coasters with me. I also have videos on my channel for the Petals and Prose book cover kit and the Blossoms and Blooms corner bookmarks. Everything will be linked below. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody.